just did a video where I made baby blue icing, and I thought, why not? Let's make royal blue. And basically, this is royal blue food coloring. If you're going to mix royal blue icing, just get this and add as much as you need to get the color. But be careful because too much color will weep out. And especially with the darker colors like this, you don't necessarily want to put a ton of liquid food coloring, even the gel food coloring, into icing if it's going to be sitting around a long time. Like the food coloring can come out of the icing and it'll stain white icing if it's piped on there or anything like that. And sometimes I have iced cakes that were dark and the color will start weeping out and you get drops of the food coloring on the icing. If that happens, just take a tissue or something and blot it. Don't try to mix it back in if it's on the cake already. So what I was looking at with these swatches, and we're going down here to the darker colors now. Royal blue is it's a true blue. It doesn't have a lot of other colors in it, like the red. Like this is very purple. This is getting to be purple. Navy blue has some red in it, so it does have kind of a purpley tint. Royal blue is pretty true to blue, and it's not tinted in any way. So this one is called Loyal Blue, so I'm not sure if Royal Blue is trademarked or something, but we really want something in this range. It is very dark though. So what I'm thinking is that I might want to, see, this is tricky because if you start with a chocolate icing or cocoa, it will make it dark, but it's going to make it taste like cocoa. So I'm just going to try mixing this without anything else. I'm just going to try using this and seeing how much it takes, but I might get some powder food coloring and I'm going to go look for that right now. All right, this is some powdered royal blue food coloring. I got this from one of my friends years ago, so I'm definitely not going to be eating this. This is for demonstration purposes only, but you can get powdered food coloring and you can add this instead of the liquid. Especially for dark colors. See, it's coming off of my hands. For dark colors, this might be a good option to get started because it's not going to water down the icing and it's not going to change the texture of the icing so much, which is exactly what the gel food coloring might do. And even for black, if you can get powdered food coloring, and I'm not talking about luster dust, that's not the same thing. Luster dust is not necessarily meant for food use, and it might not dissolve in icing the same way. But see, this is dissolving, and it's meant to be water soluble, it's edible, it's food coloring. So it's definitely an option for making darker colors. So this is, I wouldn't call this royal blue, but I can try some more. Hold on a sec. I will look up some brands of powdered food coloring if you're not sure about where to get it. And I'll see if I can find some sources for it. Because like I said, I got this from my friend years ago. And it's just been sitting here because I don't use powdered food coloring too often. But it's good to have some on hand in case you do need to make a dark color like this. And make sure to scrape the bowl so that you have everything incorporated. Because if you have streaks of the dark color in there, it's going to be difficult. I am going to add some more of this to see what happens. And you can imagine if I was adding all of this liquid food coloring to this to make this color, it's going to get really diluted. Like the icing will start to change texture. And this icing is pretty soft anyway. When I made this, I probably put a little too much liquid in it. And that doesn't help. But it will get to the point where the icing is, and see how this streak of food coloring is there on the side? You really want to make sure you scrape that up and mix it in. But it'll get to the point where the icing is so wet that the texture is just wrong and it makes it difficult to work with, and it will weep out. The color will come out as it sits. So the powdered food coloring is a good option, but it is not really a royal blue. I would say that this is a lot dustier. Let me see. And I'm saying that we're trying to get to these two colors. Yeah, it's pretty close. This is a little bit darker. It's kind of the same as this. So actually, I'm going to put one drop of the royal blue icing in here because I'm not sure about the tint of this. Okay, so one drop on top of the powdered food coloring. And actually, I'm going to save a little bit of this. I'm going to save a little bit of that so we can see how the color changed. But see how that is really brightening up the color? I'm not sure if you can see it yet. I might have to add more. But the powdered food coloring is good for not thinning out the icing. It might not get you the right color that you want. And because I'm not sure how many colors powdered food coloring comes in, and you might have to add some different types or different shades of the powdered food coloring to get what you're looking for. I am going to do this. When I'm done mixing this, I'm going to compare it to the first one with just the powdered food coloring in it. Okay, that was a big drop. So that's a lot. And this, you know, what I would do honestly is mix this up and then let it sit, because the food coloring will get darker in the icing overnight. If you can mix your icing up beforehand and just let it sit, that's the best thing to do, because number one, it will give it time to darken, but it will also give it time to weep out. If the liquid is going to start oozing out of the icing, you can just pour it off, and that way you don't have to worry about it coming out once you put it on the cake. So, you know, I think this is actually a pretty good color. I'm not sure if people looking at this would say that's royal blue. I think it does look like royal blue, and if I compare it to this swatch here, it's close, like it's this one. It looks just like this one, basically. It's somewhere between these two, depending on what the light is doing. So I think if I was going to be putting this on a cake and someone had asked me for royal blue, number one, like I've said before, never tell anyone you can match a color. Don't tell people you can match a color perfectly, because it just is impossible. And since the food coloring does change color in the icing, you don't know what it's going to do. Even if you get it perfect now, it could change overnight. But I think that it's really hard to hold this up to these two. I think that this icing is close enough to these two on the bottom that I would be comfortable putting this on a cake and saying this is royal blue. Now, if you're looking for navy blue, that's slightly different, because navy blue has more red in it, I think. I would have to sit and look at the color. But it's not exactly, and this is still kind of dark. If you look at this compared to this actually does look more navy than royal compared to the color here. So there might still be some adjusting, but always get a color sample from the person who you're making the cake for. And I would be fine with this for a royal blue, as see you smear it here. It looks fine. But if someone is looking for a very specific color match, then that might not be good for them. And I'm going to bring in, this is the original. Oh, it's a very subtle difference. Let me move this out of the way. This is the original color before I added the liquid in. And this is the liquid. And this is a little bit brighter. Okay, I can see a difference. I'm not sure how obvious this difference is. Let me hold it up here. I'm not sure how obvious the difference is. This is definitely brighter, and this is slightly more purple, if that's a good way to describe it. There's a very, very subtle difference once I added the liquid food. It's a gel food coloring, but once I added that into this icing, it did brighten it up a little bit, but it still is very similar. But it's close enough. So that's how I would make royal blue icing if I had to do it for a cake. Powdered food coloring for the base, and then you can tint it to where you want it with the gel food coloring, but get it as close as you can with powder color, because it's just not going to dilute the icing and weep out later as much as the gel will.